Hello and welcome to Double Play Sports. I'm James alongside Pat, and today we are here with former MLB player AJ Reed. AJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. We're super happy to have you on the show. AJ, if you do not know, a high school legend in Indiana, had a great career at Kentucky and played in the MLB for 4 seasons. So we're super excited to have him. First off, I just got to ask you, because I was looking through to get some questions. I was looking through your baseball reference page. I was looking through all the little pages and I saw some nicknames come up. So you're going to have to give me a little bit of context for these. I'm seeing George, Herman, Big Herman, and Herm. So can you give me a little bit of the story behind those?
Yeah, so that was from college. I doing both hitting and pitching in college. The guys just started calling me, like George for Babe Ruth. They all had to do with Babe Ruth, and they just kind of ran away with it. And there's a lot more that you didn't see that they used to, but yeah, that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah, I can see that definitely. So growing up in Indiana, closest baseball team, you got to go across state lines, at least for an MLB team. So who did you grow up rooting for? And was there a player you rooted for, especially or idolized growing up?
Well, my mom was a Cubs fan, so I grew up watching Cubs games. Pretty much everybody else in town was either Cardinals or Reds. But yeah, I grew up watching Cubs games. And then I liked watching Adrian Gonzalez. I felt like, being a first baseman, and I kind of felt like he was a good person to try to mimic swing wise. Able to use the whole field, hit for power, hit for average. So yeah, I liked watching him play when I was a kid.
Yeah, all right. So then in high school at Terre Haute, you absolutely killed it. The stats we have, you batted 425 through your high school career, hit 41 home runs, and struck out 390. You ended up getting drafted in the 25th round by the Mets, but you would opt to play at Kentucky. What was that first draft process like, and what went into the decision to play at UK?
Yeah, so I was drafted by the Mets in the 25th round. I was drafted as a pitcher. Um, I was pretty set on going to school because I was going to go to school for free, full ride baseball scholarship, and so I was pretty set on going to school. It was going to take a lot of money for me to sign and not go to school. Personally, I felt that I wasn't ready to jump into pro ball yet, so definitely needed that time at college to kind of grow up and mature. And I was just really looking forward to being part of that college atmosphere and being on a team like that. So I was pretty set on going to school, and I'm glad that I did.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you talked about you going to Kentucky. At Kentucky, you continued, you were a two-way player, which is you were drafted to be a pitcher, but then two-way player in college. You didn't just pitch and hit, you excelled at both, really. And so what added challenges came from taking on college baseball as a two-way player rather than just hitting or pitching?
Time management for sure. It's definitely a little different going from high school to playing in the SEC. Obviously the competition just rises astronomically. So time management, making sure that I'm working on both sides of the ball, getting my, bullpens in, making sure I keep my arm strength up at the same time, making sure I'm getting my time in the cage, taking ground balls, things like that. So, and then, obviously making time for the weight room and class and everything. So it was definitely time management. And, we had a great coaching staff and support staff that helped out with that, obviously. And so, yeah, just making sure that I was getting my work in on both sides of the ball and making sure that I was getting better every day at both.
Yeah, so then, of course, like you mentioned, you played in the SEC with Kentucky, of course. And, you would play against many future MLB guys over your years at Kentucky. Do you think that gave you a bit of a leg up playing in such a high competition conference?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the big name guys in that conference go on to have great professional careers and play in the big leagues for a long time. So definitely playing against those guys when you're 18, 19, 20 years old helps out a lot and definitely prepares you for that next level. And you kind of don't know where you stand until you get there. So that was a learning curve as well. So it was nice to be able to play against that competition and kind of see where my skill level compared to everybody else in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. So then your junior and final season at Kentucky has kind of gone down in the history books. You hit 336, 23 homers, and pitched to a 2.09 ERA with a 12-2 record over 112 innings. Season earned you basically every college baseball player award, including the Golden Spikes Award and SEC Male Athlete of the Year. So those are some big things to add to the trophy shelf there. What helped you take that major step heading into your junior year?
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good team my sophomore year, and we kind of fell off towards the end of the year and really struggled down the stretch. And I just first, had a conversation with myself and then with our coaching staff, and we kind of made a plan to try to not let that happen again. And then really, I took the weight room and took my body a lot more seriously that off season before my junior year, and got in shape and really focused on strengthening my strengths at the same time trying to strengthen my weaknesses, but just really trying to hone in on things that I did really well. And after 2 years in the conference, you had some experience and just trying to be a guy that the team can rely on and kind of carry them to as far as I could and make the team better.
I'm interested. So obviously you made it as a two-way a lot further than most guys are able to. So I'm just curious, how much more difficult is it as a two-way? And does that help you really appreciate like what Otani is doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what he's able to do in the big leagues as a two-way guy is you don't see those kinds of things very often, if ever. And I kind of hope that kind of opens the door for more of that. But it's there's not a lot of people that have the talent that he has, and it's not easy. You've got to be able to make sure that you're, like I said, keeping your arm in shape and working on, your different pitches and things like that. And then at the same time, being able to hit guys who can do the same thing and do it better. So it's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. My junior year, I was in the cage every day for hours, before class, after practice, before practice, but for me, that was what I wanted to do. And I didn't view it as practice. I just viewed it as almost like doing my job and, preparing me for what I needed to do to be successful.
Yeah, so then of course following your time at Kentucky, you ended up being selected with the first pick in the second round by the Astros. And what was that draft day experience like for you? Of course, I would imagine it was different.
Yeah, it was exciting. We had friends and family over, and we're watching draft day and everything, and a lot of anticipation and a lot of nerves waiting for that phone call. And then when it does happen, you're excited and relieved, and then we get to celebrate with our close family and friends who are here, and it was a great day, and at the same time very stressful day.
Yeah, we talked to a guy last week on the show that on draft day, he got so stressed out by all of it, he just went fishing. He just went up and left and went fishing. So I guess different people handle it in different days. You had to wait a little bit less for your name to be called. So then in your first full season in the minors, this is 2015 now, you led all of the minor leagues in home runs with 34 and all of the minor leagues in RBIs with 127. What do you think gave you the edge to dominate minor league pitching right away?
Well, it's kind of funny because I know I've told some people this, but I haven't told a lot of people this. So that was in high A. I started that year in Lancaster, California. And I don't know if you've ever been to that stadium before, but the wind blows straight out every day. And I started the first month hitting probably about $140 with no homers. And I was in the locker room packing up my bags, ready to go home, thinking that I wasn't cut out for it. And my hitting coach came in and he looked at me and asked me what I was doing. And he told me to just give him a week. For some reason, whatever he told me, it clicked, and then I ended up having the year that I did. And it was just about focusing on trying not to be perfect, but focusing on things that I did well. And from the beginning of May on to the rest of that year, I just felt like I couldn't miss, and ended up having a good year and carried that into Double A the second half of that year, and which oddly enough, going into Corpus and Double A, the wind blew straight in every day, so a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, just focusing on not necessarily mechanics or anything like that, but not missing pitches that I need to hit and being aggressive. So that was two things that really helped me out that year.
So then I'm curious, of course, you ended up batting, of course, in your league in the minors. Uh, when you were drafted, did the Astros tell you that was their plan for you? And also, what was your personal preference?
Yeah, so when I was going through like my pre-draft kind of meetings with the teams, a lot of them did ask me what I prefer to do. And my response every time was, I don't have a preference. I just want to play when I'm supposed to play. If I'm a pitcher, I want to pitch every 5 days. If I'm a position player, I want to play every day. So that was really my main concern. I just wanted to be on the field when I was supposed to be on the field. When I got drafted, the Astros just told me, "Hey, you're going to hit. We don't want you to pitch. We want you to focus on hitting." And that was after my junior year. That was pretty much the consensus for most teams.
I mean, that's crazy to think about that. You had a great pitching season. So I'm surprised that because I mean, a guy recently not of Otani's caliber, because obviously Otani didn't have to go through the minors, but Brendan McKay, he went pretty far doing that. And then Hunter Green obviously left high school and kind of wasn't able to keep up with both sides. But I mean, you put up crazy numbers. Was there any talk with the Astros at all about even like the possibility of that? I know you eventually got to pitch one game in the majors, and we can get to that later because that's a pretty cool story, I'm sure, but there was no conversation.
No. So, there were times in the minor leagues where, it'd be a blowout game or something, and maybe I had that day off or something like that, and I would beg for them to let me pitch an inning. And the answer was always the same from the manager: is if we let you pitch, we get fired. So, the Astros had no intentions of ever letting me pitch.
So then I don't know what's going on in Tampa Bay, because I see Brett Phillips coming out there once in a while. He gets all excited. He gets revved up. So I don't know how Kevin Cash still has his job, but yeah, no.
You would end up making your MLB debut on June 25th, 2016 at Kauffman Stadium. You would end up contributing to an Astros win. You would walk twice and have an RBI. What was your experience like for you stepping on the MLB field for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's similar to a lot of guys, but just a lot of emotions, excitement, nerves, you know, maybe a sense of relief that all the work that you've put in and you finally make it. My family was able to be there, so happy for them to be able to be there and share that with me. And it was one of the best days of my life for sure. Working since you're playing since you're 4 or 5 years old, and then getting to make it to the big leagues. There's nothing quite like it.
Absolutely. So then not too long later, on July 1st, you logged your first hit against Miguel Gonzalez of the White Sox. And then the next day, pinch hit homer for your first one to leave the park against David Robertson. What was the experience? First hit, and then next day, first home run.
Yeah, so I kind of started off slow in the hit column. So definitely getting that first hit was nice. Actually, it kind of rolled over a change up and bounced it off the bag over Jose Abreu's head. So that was a nice little break, and kind of games leading up to that, I hit some balls really hard, or just right at guys, and so kind of some tough luck mixed in there. But yeah, definitely a weight off the shoulders getting that first one out of the way. Then for the first homer, like you said, David Robertson, obviously a cutter guy. So I was just looking for the ball to be in one spot, and knowing that it's not knowing, but hoping it's a cutter and swinging to where I think it's going to be. And I got lucky, and he threw it right where I was looking and put a good swing on it and barreled it up. So yeah, that was an awesome feeling as well.
So then Throughout your career, who was the toughest at bat for you? Who's the toughest pitcher you ever had to face?
Um, well, for some reason, I felt like in 17 and 18, when I got called up, we were playing the Rays, and I was in the lineup when we were facing Blake Snell. So um, he definitely is obviously a very good pitcher, and being left on left, he gave me a lot of trouble. Throwing 98 with his curveball, and so he's definitely a tough at bat. Um, Marcus Stroman gave me a lot of trouble. I faced him once when he was with Toronto, and he was throwing me back foot cutters that I thought were going to be two seamers. So I think I had 3 at bats since all 9 pitches and check swung at all 9 and struck out 3 times.
Yeah, those are some amazing pitchers right there. So we don't blame you for struggling a little bit against them. So then lots of guys we've talked to have talked about their kind of welcome to the bigs moment, the moment where you're like, I realized I'm here. You get a little bit grounded a little bit. Did you have a moment like that?
I hit a ball in a gap one day that off the bat, I'm like, that's a double, for sure double. And I don't remember who we were playing. But center fielder just ran over like it was nothing and caught it in stride. And I was like, this is different. These guys are different. So, I remember that very vividly. And yeah, it was one of those moments where you're like, these guys out here in this outfield run the ball down. So yeah, it was definitely an eye-opening moment.
So then in July of 2019, you ended up moving on from your tenure in Houston. You were claimed by the White Sox. What was the experience like for you switching organizations from Houston to Chicago?
Yeah, so got DFA'd by the Astros, and then I got picked up by the White Sox. And I got picked up the day before All-Star break, so I got a few extra days at home. Met the team in Oakland. So I was excited for a new opportunity, maybe a little change of scenery. And I felt like they were, excited to have me as well. But, then struggled again, and then got sent down and then DFA'd by them. So kind of after that, I felt like, maybe it was time to move on, but, still enjoyed my time with them and getting to be a part of that organization.
Yeah. Well, definitely one bright side from your time with the White Sox is you got to take your major league debut on the mound. So can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite baseball memories. It's kind of funny because they were talking to me a little bit about how I'd pitched in college, and I actually had thrown a few bullpens with the pitching coach before that, just to kind of see how it was and test it out a little bit. And then we were getting beat by the Twins, and we made a pitching change. Playing first base that day, we made a pitching change in the 8th, and our manager had actually gotten thrown out that game, so our bench coach out to make the change. And he looked at me when we were waiting on the reliever to come in, and he said, "Hey, you might throw the 9th." And I said, "All right, let's do it." And so we got the last out and came in the dugout, and he looked at me and said, "You're pitching the 9th." So I went down to the cage and threw some balls into the net and got my arm loose. And then they said on my way out, they said, "Don't do anything crazy. Just, throw it in there." And I said, "We'll see about that." So I went out there, tried to throw it as hard as I could, and threw a couple change ups that were okay. And, ended up going 3 up, 3 down. I didn't get a strikeout, but no hits either. So it was, that was fun. And I'm sure if there's any video of it, I probably have a big smile on my face the whole time.
Do you know what you ended up topping out at on the mound that day?
I think it was 89.
All
And
right.
I was a little frustrated because I didn't touch a 90, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 89 is not too bad either. I don't think I'm getting anywhere close to that. So you got me beat for sure. So then March 4th, 2020, you retired. Since you retired, what have you been up to? We want to hear about what's going on in the world of AJ Reed now.
yeah, so I ended up going back to finish my last year of school. Graduated from UK. I graduated in December of 21. And then I coached a college summer ball team that we have here in Terre Haute for a summer. which was fun, and I had a good time with those guys. And then now I'm just working for a company that makes brake parts, running their packaging department. So yeah, just living my wife and I have a little farm out here in Terre Haute. So we're got some animals out here and being a farmer.
Very nice. Sounds
That's
like a
awesome.
great, yeah. Yeah, that's all the questions we had for you, AJ. Thank you so much for coming on. It was great talking with you, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And yeah, I hope all is well. And yeah, we'll see you later.
All right. Good luck to you guys too.
All right.